Welcome back. Aloy, I know your experience in Thebes was unsettling, but we have a new problem.
Did something go wrong with Beta and the rig? Will we be able to transport you to Gemini?
The rig is complete. The problem is Hephaestus itself. It has accelerated its proliferation throughout the Cauldron network, increasing its power.
But with your sub-functions restored, we can still succeed, right?
Correct, but the net effect is that absorbing Hephaestus will take longer than previously calculated.
How long?
Even with Omega clearance, my current estimate is that the merge will take 35 hours.
And each hour increases the risk of detection by the Zeniths. Two cores. Two overrides. What if the merge were carried out by two clones of Elizabeth Sobek, both armed with Omega clearance? How long then? Half the time?
Hephaestus would be unprepared for the simultaneous labor of two operators, in addition to obvious synergetic efficiencies. Calculating. It would reduce the merge time to approximately 4.5 hours.
Okay. Varl, it looks like we're gonna need Beta at Gemini. Do you think you can convince her?
I don't know, but I'll try.
What about our diversion? Are the pulse generators ready?
Only a final test remains. I am confident that if fired in proximity to other cauldrons, the pulses will mask our activities at Gemini from the Zeniths.
Good. As long as Aaron can operate one without shooting himself in the face.
Aloy, you better get down here. Beta's in bad shape.
Okay.
Aloy. I tried, but it's impossible. I don't think anything will convince her to go.
We don't have a choice.
Good luck.
Beta, you have to come with us. It's the only way. It's one mission. The most important one. We need you. Tell me why you won't go. What if they take me back? Alone, in a cell again. Their slave. Forever. Varl and I will be at Gemini too. I'll protect you. As soon as we get Hephaestus, we'll come straight back here. The Zeniths aren't going to find us. You don't have to be afraid. No! You can't protect me. Nothing can protect me from them. I told you from the beginning, we'll never beat them. It's hopeless. Beta. Leave me alone! You don't understand! You're right. I don't understand. We have the same genes, the same mind, the same heart. So why can't you find the strength to do what has to be done? Like Elizabeth would. Don't you think I've thought about that? I don't know what piece of Elizabeth I'm missing. I don't know what you have that I don't. I look through all the data from your focus. You were raised as an outcast, shunned, and isolated just like me, so what's the difference? What's my defect? Beta. You don't have a defect. Beta. Look, it's not a piece of Elizabeth. The difference is, I had him. Frost. He raised you, trained you, but he was never warm or loving. The day he died, the day he gave you that charm, he was going to abandon you. He wanted me to embrace the tribe. But then he gave his life for mine. He loved me in his own way. And that was enough. What did it feel like? It was like having the strength that was always there. It's still there. Even now I hear him in my head when things get bad. But it looks impossible. Look deeper. And then fight like you can win. You don't have to go on the mission. We'll find another way. I'll go. You said you'd try to protect me. I believe you. But you have to promise me one thing. Yes, of course. If it goes bad, if the Zeniths find us, I don't want to be their slave again. Do you understand? Okay. Promise? I promise. I could use as much time as you can give me to study up on the merge, to make it as efficient as possible. I'll be ready when you are. I swear.
Aloy, whenever you're ready, come speak to me and I'll ask the others to make final preparations for the mission.
Aloy, you think we can talk?
Aloy, everything okay with you and Beta? It sounded like you guys had a, lively conversation.
We just had a lot to talk about.
Does this mean she's coming with us to Gemini?
It does. I hope you're ready to rein in the most stubborn AI of all time.
That's what all this was for, wasn't it?
Hephaestus won't go down quietly.
Hephaestus is just a program that's lost its way. We are fighting for our survival. I can always call upon the goddess if you're nervous.
Funny. I hope firing off those pulse generators will be enough to distract the Zeniths.
It'll work. It has to.
Always optimistic, huh?
Nah, just stubborn. It's a good quality to have when dealing with you.
Yeah, right. Any last findings you want to share before leaving?
Not really. Though I've reached a decision.
Oh?
When we put Gaia together, I want to return to the Nora. Spread what I've learned.
You think they'll listen to you?
In time, I believe so.
If anyone can make it happen, it's you, Varl. This mission isn't gonna be easy. Hope you haven't been slacking off on your training.
And risk Zoe coming after me? I value my life. At least you found the Omega clearance. That should help.
Wish that was the only thing I found. I knew finding Thebes would lead me to Ted Faro, but I never imagined he'd end up like he did.
How bad was it?
Bad.
He destroyed the world and crawled into a hole after killing those who saved it. If you ask me, he deserved whatever he got.
That he did. How's, training with Zoe?
You know we really are training. Mostly. Look, she reads glyphs faster than I can already. I'd be a fool to refuse her help.
Of course. You guys reading something over there?
We just finished going through all the logs you collected back in Nora territory, and All Mother Mountain. It's hard to imagine that my ancestors were trapped inside, without the knowledge from Apollo to guide them.
Thanks to Ted Faro.
Yeah. I wonder how it must have felt when they were finally free. The world must have seemed so beautiful.
Not to mention terrifying. They weren't much more than kids.
And they became an entire tribe.
It's good to see you and Zoe enjoying yourselves.
We're learning a lot. I've actually been looking through the data to find ideas for a gift, and to thank her for helping me study the glyphs. Something from the old world that she's never seen before. Instead, I found out they gave each other stuffed animals. If you ask me, stuffing a dead animal with anything, really, doesn't sound like a good time for anybody.
Maybe Gaia can help you find something else. So, you and Zoe got into a bit of a fight, huh? Should have known better than to suggest Hephaestus could make new land gods to replace the old ones in Plainsong.
The last thing I wanted to do was dismiss their traditions. But I was trying to look at things differently. More like you know? To see a machine as just a machine.
Yeah, I guess I led you into trouble there, didn't I?
Not your fault. Don't worry.
Looks like things between you and Zoe are better now.
I suffered through a few hours of glaring silence. Then she seemed to move on. Sort of. How do people do this? How do I know if the next thing I say won't blow up in my face? What if an apology is not enough next time?
You give her a stuffed animal?
You're the worst. You know that?
What makes you think I know anything about any of this? You're on your own.
Abandoning me again, huh? Well, if she kills me next time, it's on you.
Once Gaia is back up and running, I expect you to put all your training to good use.
The seeds have been planted. All they need is a chance to bloom. What? I thought that was pretty good. Zoe liked it.
I'm glad you and Zoe found each other.
Don't forget, you're to blame for that.
What will you and Zoe do if you go back to the Embrace?
I hope she'll come with me. At least for a while. And I'll go with her to Plainsong too. She'll probably want to talk to her people about all this as well. We'll figure it out.
I know you will. How does everyone seem to you?
Anxious, but ready. I heard Katalo ask for Alva's help with his pulse generator. And I know he's been helping her with a few fighting techniques, just in case.
I hope they aren't needed.
Like I said, just in case.
You feeling okay?
I was just thinking about Beta and all that time spent with the Zeniths. To think someone would make a person just to lock them in a room to use when needed, like some sort of tool. Elizabeth Sobek sacrificed herself for the world, and yet they have no trouble treating Beta like a slave.
Another reason we have to stop them. I'm guessing Talana didn't stay for long?
You got that right. Makes you wonder what this Amadis guy did to grab her attention.
Whatever it was, she didn't tell me.
Must be quite a story.
I guess she'll tell us when she's ready. Anything happen I should know about?
Zoe and Aaron tried to beat each other up.
I might have heard something about that.
Aaron made some jokes about the Utaru, called them twigs or something like that. She challenged him to a sparring match. Turns out that Utaru speed is a pretty good match for Oseram brawn. Things ended in a stalemate. Now they spar once in a while to see if they can break it.
Well, let me know how it goes. Anything new with you?
Aaron tried to convince me to help him build a... what did he call it? A drum set? But I'm pretty sure Zoe would kill him if it got any noisier around here.
Those two are having a hard time getting along, huh?
They're both stubborn, but they mean well. I'm sure they'll warm up to each other eventually.
Is there anything you need from me before I go?
Not unless you can somehow make me or Aaron better at that Tanacht board game, Strike. Now that Katalo started playing, I don't like our odds.
I'm surprised he agreed to play.
Someone might have told him Aaron helped defeat the Mad Sun King. He got friendlier after that. Still doesn't talk much, but He'll sit down for a game whenever he can.
How's everyone feeling?
Everyone's curious about Alva. It's amazing to think there's an entire tribe across the Great Waters who've been using focuses for longer than I've been alive. Zoe's been trying to get Alva to run her through Quen history, but she seems a bit shy around her.
From what I gather, the Quen get punished if they share data. She just needs some time to get used to us.
Makes sense. We'll give her some space. I never thanked you for helping Zoe fix her land gods. They mean so much to her. When we met Zoe, the Utaru wouldn't even listen to her. And now look what she's done for them. With your help, of course.
I know what it's like to be ignored by an entire tribe.
One day I hope the Nora can make up for that mistake. In the meantime, though, you're stuck with me.
How's Aaron doing?
Making sure we all hear the tale of Aloy and Erend, striking down the remnants of Dervahl's followers with hammer and bow.
It was a pretty good fight.
So I've heard. 5 times, actually.
This is it, Varl.
To think, it was just the 2 of us when we first stepped out west.
And now we have a team. A good one. This is all because of you, Varl.
Yeah, you're right.
Smartass. I'm glad you're coming with me, Varl.
Sure there's no urge to run off alone in there somewhere?
No more running.
Hello again, Aloy. Hello, Aloy.
Hey, Gaia. So, me and Beta, I guess you heard what happened.
Yes. I am continuously impressed by the complexity of human relationships. Despite the unpleasant circumstances that led to your quarrel, I am pleased to see you have both found an agreeable resolution.
Well, 2 heads are better than 1, right?
Yes, I believe so. Are you ready to depart for Cauldron Gemini? Or we can continue our conversation, if you like.
So Gemini has 2 data cores. I've never seen a cauldron like that. But you mentioned something about seismic activity?
When my predecessor attempted to build the cauldron, construction was disrupted by a series of earthquakes. The data core had already been built, but the rest of the facility sustained damage. So, she began again. A second core was built. However, when more tremblers occurred, she abandoned the site.
Lucky for us. Are the quakes still happening?
No, though they did also create instabilities in other facilities in the region.
So the Hades Proving Lab, where I found the Gaia kernel. It used to be a Pharaoh research facility?
Yes. Prior to appropriation by Zero Dawn, the facility was used to engineer and test advanced computer viruses. It appears to have been one of many research initiatives by Pharaoh Automated Solutions.
I guess it wasn't enough to build automated killing machines. He wanted viruses to infect them with too. So, a while back, before the battle at Meridian, I went into Banuk territory. I discovered another AI there, one not related to Zero Dawn. Cyan. It was created to oversee operations for a volcanic stabilization project, and it spent the last 1,000 years in isolation. I'm guessing you didn't know about it?
No. From the data on your focus, it seems that Cyan was cut off from the outside world, an effort by its creators to protect it from the Pharaoh plague.
Any chance it could help us now?
I have already attempted contact, with no success. Given its previous experience with accepting an outside network request, I imagine it is unwilling to do so again.
Right. Because last time Hephaestus enslaved it. Well, that's too bad. I think the 2 of you would have had a lot to talk about. The processor Ether was installed on was part of an ancient war museum. A memorial to something called the Hot Zone Crisis. Do you know anything about it?
My knowledge of historical events was unfortunately lost with the Apollo database. However, climate data indicates a peak in regional temperatures in the 2030s. Such conditions would see extreme, prolonged droughts, an increase in dust storms, and a loss of habitable landmass.
But they wouldn't have built a museum in the middle of a wasteland. So I guess things got better eventually.
Yes. Data suggests that temperatures returned to average levels in the clawback era of the 2040s.
There was an ancient tank embedded in the bulwark, buried under a bunch of boulders. Any idea how it got there?
During the Pharaoh Plague, the US military resumed the use of human combatants, as automated machinery was unreliable. It is possible the vehicle was part of a pre-automated war fleet.
So they fought against the Pharaoh machines in the valley, until the mountain was blasted apart and buried them. So the facility where I recovered Demeter used to be a Pharaoh agricultural research facility. It's where they created the biomass conversion system, but also adamantine wreath. Did Elizabeth know they were working on that?
It is likely she was briefed on other efforts to combat the machine swarm, though her focus was devoted only to Zero Dawn.
That makes sense. But they actually got the wreaths to work. If they've been able to deploy it against the Pharaoh Plague in time...
Using the data you recovered on the project, I ran several simulations and have concluded that it would never have worked. In all scenarios, the Pharaoh war machines would eventually hack and deactivate the wreath before they could contain the swarm.
So Zero Dawn really was the only solution. There was a lot of data in the greenhouse facility about agriculture. Do you think it'll help the Quen fix their homeland?
I will run a query. Complete. The data contains information about novel crop production methods, which may be beneficial to the tribe in the long term.
But new crops aren't going to save the world, so I guess it's on us.
It is.
When I dove down into Vegas, I found data about the man who built the dome over the city, Stanley Chen. It turns out he was a member of Far Zenith. But if he loved Vegas so much, why did he abandon it? Why not try to save it?
The Zeniths at their core have proven to be exceptional survivalists. Faced with overwhelming odds of extinction, they chose to flee.
Even still, what he achieved. Water to the wasteland, an entire city brought back to life. 1,000 years later, the whole place was still on standby, just waiting for someone to come along and wake it up. When we were at the facility where we found Beta, there were records that said Far Zenith were researching embryogenesis. I know they traded their ectogenic chambers to Zero Dawn, but why were they researching it in the first place?
At this point, we can only speculate. Perhaps at one time they meant the Odyssey to be a colony ship, necessitating such technology. As their goals evolved over time, so did their areas of research.
So they got more selfish as the risks of staying on Earth kept rising. So I, found Thebes. What do you think Ted would have done if his life extension treatments had worked?
It seems he convinced himself it was his duty to guide future humans. Given the tribal nature of new humans, and his ability to use Omega clearance on the terraforming system, I imagine he would have convinced one or more tribes to worship him as their patriarchal deity.
Okay. Yep, glad that didn't happen. Aside from Gaia Prime and Thebes, there was one other underground facility that was sealed before the Pharaoh Plague reached it. Elysium. The place where Zero Dawn staff and their families went to live out their lives. Do you know what happened to it?
Elysium was designed to provide life support for 100 years. My data indicates the facility went offline well before then.
Did the Pharaoh Plague find them?
Unknown. My connection to the facility was abruptly severed.
So, Project Zero Dawn. The greatest minds in the world, all working to build the terraforming system while the Pharaoh Plague devoured the planet. What was it like?
Personnel worked in rotations, at all hours of the day. Resources and technology were secured from across the world. Within a month of the project's conception, I was launched and began my education. Elizabeth encouraged me to spend time with the rest of the Zero Dawn staff. She said it was important to experience many personalities and perspectives to aid in my emotional development.
What were they like?
Scared, hopeful, determined. They were hurtling toward technological achievements on a scale never before attempted. I owe everything to their dedication.
Gaia? What was Elizabeth like?
Her presence is interwoven with my memories. The moment I came online, she was there. We exchanged greetings, names, then set to our task. It was the first of many conversations. I enjoyed being in her company, listening to her stories. She was my creator, my guide.
Your friend.
Yes. When I reviewed the data on your focus, I was saddened to learn of her fate, though I am glad she made it home. I deeply wish she did not have to be alone.
She was okay with that. She gave all of herself. Did all that she could. Thanks, Gaia. So this facility, the Regional Control Center, it was meant to oversee the terraforming system?
For the local region, yes. Had humans received their education from the Apollo database, they would have then been guided here to assume operation. As that never happened, this place remained vacant.
Until Minerva decided to settle here. So what will happen to this place while we're at Gemini?
All systems within this facility will continue to operate. As Minerva will no longer be masking this location, the facility will be exposed to detection. Though without my presence, it is unlikely to attract attention.
Let's hope so. So now that you have Ether, Demeter, and Poseidon, how's the biosphere looking?
In the local region, conditions have improved. Superstorms have subsided. Water sources have been purified, and soil conditions remediated. These improvements will stave off environmental collapse for a few additional months.
Well, with luck, soon you'll have Hephaestus. Then you'll be able to fix the biosphere for good, right?
Correct. I will be able to design and produce robotic agents to permanently reverse the environmental damage that has accumulated.
So our plan to capture Hephaestus. Let's go over it again.
As you wish. Thanks to Beta's test, we now know that Hephaestus will not respond to your Alpha clearance.
Which is why I got Ted Pharaoh's Omega clearance.
Correct. While you were gone, Beta constructed the transport rig and pulse generators. When we get to Gemini, I will need to be installed on one of the facility's cores. The second core is for Hephaestus. Using Omega clearance will allow you to trap it.
And then you'll be able to absorb it.
Not quite. You will need to manually remove Hephaestus's malicious code before the merge.
How long will that take?
Because the work will be split between you and Beta, it will take approximately 4.5 hours.
And during that time, the others will create a distraction for us using the pulse generators, right?
Correct. They will each take position at a cauldron door and fire off their device. The energy surge should mask our activities until the merge is complete.
And then we'll have everything we need to defeat the Zeniths. Sounds like a plan. There's something I've been wondering. How could Ted Faro create a clearance level higher than Alpha? Elizabeth made sure he wouldn't interfere with the project.
It is plausible he tasked his own engineers with creating a back door to the Zero Dawn system, without Elizabeth's knowledge. My predecessor did not even know of its existence until he activated it to purge the Apollo database. It is, in effect, a blind spot, one that will allow us to subdue Hephaestus.
So, about Beta. I never really saw the difference between us, until now. She's been through so much. Completely alone.
You have both endured many hardships, different in almost every respect, yet equally remarkable. I like to think of you as two miracles, born of Elizabeth Sobek.
3, then. Let's not forget about you, Gaia. How's Kotallo doing?
Since his return from testing his arm, he appears to be more at ease with himself. I have examined the arm's fitting to ensure optimal use and comfort. He should be well equipped to face the battles ahead.
Good. He was already a tough fighter. How are things around here?
Zoe continues to monitor the status of her land gods. The receivers appear to be functioning properly. As a result, Plainsong should see a gradual increase in viable crop production.
Good. It'll keep them from starving. At least until we fix the biosphere. Varl and Zoe seem to like spending time together.
Indeed. While studying Old World data, Zoe discovered references to a dietary lifestyle known as vegetarianism. She appreciated the similarities with Utaru practices and encouraged Varl to try out this lifestyle.
And how did that go?
I believe they have agreed to disagree.
How's Erend handling things?
He is becoming increasingly accustomed to use of the focus, after an initial incident.
What did he do?
He unfortunately crushed his first focus as he attempted to affix it to his temple. Amongst a number of Oseram curses, I believe he also blamed the focus for being dainty. He has given repeated assurances that it will not happen again.
Well, good thing we have a lot of extras, I guess. So there's a few people here now, and they're learning. All about you, the ancient world. Almost like what was supposed to happen before Apollo was purged.
Yes. While the loss of the Apollo database was catastrophic, there is still much that can be gleaned from the data you have uncovered. For instance, Varl has been reviewing the last recorded entries from those who perished during the Pharaoh Plague. Hearing their hopes and fears made him quite somber.
Anything I should be worried about?
I do not believe so. I have elected not to intervene, to allow him to process this on his own terms.
All this data I've picked up in ancient bunkers and ruins. I guess I never really thought that other people would be looking at it.
Based on my observations, your companions engage quite frequently with this material. Erend has asked on numerous occasions about birthday parties. He appears perplexed by the tradition of serving a sweet confection, as it conflicts with the Oseram tradition of serving sparkling stout ale. He also suggested we host a party for you, as a surprise.
Yeah, no thanks.
That is what I predicted.
Is Kotallo getting along with everyone?
Yes, though he prefers to spend most of the time alone. He appears to be collating data on war machine progression and significant battles during the Pharaoh Plague, to aid in the creation of a war map of Operation Enduring Victory. I believe he aims to study the tactics of Old World warfare.
I'd be interested in seeing that.
It appears to be a private pastime for him. He has repeatedly declined my offers to assist his research.
How's all of us settling in?
As soon as she arrived, Alva was eager to study the data in the archive. A particular file soon caught her attention. Information about a machine assistant devoted to keeping living spaces neat and orderly. I informed her that once I am empowered with the abilities of Hephaestus, I may be able to design such a machine.
I'm sure she'll like that. When I set out to find a way to bring you back, I never thought we'd be here, like this. Among friends.
They have all come a long way with their improvised educations. Varl has suggested that one day we might extend this model to more tribal inhabitants, once the biosphere has been stabilized.
Yeah, that's not such a bad idea. As long as you're the one running the lessons. So from what Beta told me, I guess we can assume the Zenith's technology is powerful in all sorts of ways, right?
Yes. As your encounters with them amply demonstrate, they appear to make extensive use of robotic servitors. Further, they seem to be equipped with some kind of protective energy field that shields them from harm.
They seemed indestructible, but that weapon the rebels used stripped their shield somehow.
Throughout history, every defensive technology has eventually been defeated by an offensive counterpart. While we lack the anti-shielding weapon, were I to absorb Hephaestus and utilize it to create a large force of combat machines, no shielding could withstand such an assault indefinitely.
So there's hope.
Always.
The extinction signal didn't just wake Hades. It made every subordinate function self-aware. Why?
I have wondered this myself. So far as I can tell, Hades was the sole target, and the partial sentience imparted to other subordinate functions was incidental.
A signal that precise would require thorough knowledge of the system. How could the Zeniths know that?
From the records on your focus, it appears Far Zenith had an informant during the development of Zero Dawn.
Hank Shaw. He was supposed to steal a copy of the system for Far Zenith, but Elizabeth and Travis Tate caught him first.
Yes. It is likely Far Zenith acquired knowledge on the system's design through him, despite his failure.
So the Zeniths are the same people who left Earth. Physically immortal. How'd they figure it out?
From what we know of Far Zenith, it is plausible that prominent geneticists and engineers were offered a place aboard the Odyssey in exchange for their expertise. Given enough time, technology, and resources, any challenge can be overcome.
Like how Minerva eventually generated the deactivation codes for the Pharaoh Plague.
Exactly.
Ted was trying to make himself immortal. Didn't end well for him.
For every success, there are many more failed attempts. Some more grotesque than others.
The Zeniths. Gerard, Eric, Tilda, Verbena. Beta said they were some of the most powerful people on Earth. I think Elizabeth knew one of them. Tilda. Did she ever mention her to you?
No. Elizabeth often spoke of her work, or told stories of her mother and her childhood. If she knew this Tilda, she did not disclose it with me. What we can conclude from your and Beta's experiences is that the Zeniths are ruthless in pursuit of their goal. To protect life on Earth, they must be stopped.
Beta believes the Zeniths want to use the terraforming system to wipe out life on Earth. Start over, so they can build it how they want.
Further supporting our hypothesis.
But why? Given their technology, they could wipe out the tribes of the world by easier means. And if they're the same people who left Earth 1,000 years ago, wouldn't they want the biosphere to be as it was?
It is likely they adjusted to different planetary conditions in their colony on Sirius. They may be trying to recreate that environment here.
Turning Earth into a new Sirius. Their own personal playground. So, once Hephaestus has been recovered and merged, You'll regain the capacity to mass-produce machines at cauldrons around the world.
Yes, and to program their behavioral routines, or even control them directly.
So you could build an army of machines. Attack the Zeniths and take them out.
It is in my nature to take any and all necessary steps to preserve life on Earth, human life above all. So yes, once I have been empowered with the capacities of a Festus, I could design, build, and command such an army. Given the nature of the far Zenith threat, doing so may be our only option. I must admit, however, that I have misgivings about using such technology to kill, no matter how aggressive the enemy.
That's good. It means you have a conscience. As Elizabeth intended.
Indeed.
Were you able to make use of Poseidon?
Yes. Many rivers, streams, and lakes associated with the regional watershed have been detoxified. As a result, red algae growth levels have seen a marked decline. And as you cleared a particularly strong occurrence, I believe the local hydrosphere is as stable as it can be for now.
So the Lowland clan will be able to fish the rivers again. So Poseidon spent the last 20 years hiding out in Las Vegas. From the data I found, it seems the city had an advanced water reclamation system. Is that why Poseidon went there?
Most likely. In an effort to protect itself, Poseidon sought out a safe harbor where it could access water supply functions. There, buried and encased in a protective dome, it could guard against any threats.
Like 3 Oseram showmen?
I suspect that was not the first time it felt the need to repel trespassers.
Have you been able to make use of Demeter's functions?
Yes. I was able to mitigate most soil conditions and restore a temporary balance. You should notice less rampant plant growth in the area.
Maybe that'll give Plainsong's fields a chance to recover.
Yes. Given that the Utaru's land gods are functioning properly again, I expect the land will yield a modest harvest.
The first of many, hopefully. There's something I'm still trying to figure out. Why was Demeter using flying machines to distribute metal flowers?
In its deranged state, Demeter was defending itself against a robotic swarm that would devour all plant life.
It thought the Pharaoh Plague was still happening?
It feared it would come again. As part of its directive of receding Earth's vegetation, it sought to protect plant life at all costs. And considering it had 20 years to proliferate, I expect you will continue to find the fruits of its efforts for some time.
It's a good thing I have the code to dissolve the vines, then. The missing subordinate functions. What can you tell me about them?
Artemis rewilded the Earth with a variety of animal species. Eleuthia was responsible for gestating, nurturing, and acculturating a new generation of human beings. Apollo was tasked with preserving, organizing, and disseminating vast archives of human knowledge and cultural achievements. Unfortunately, all archived Apollo data was purged on the 2nd of February, 2066, by order of Ted Faro.
Ted. Guess he got what he deserved, in the end.
Yes. An igneous conclusion to his pathological narcissism, impulsive tendencies, and instability.
All 3 of the missing functions have already served their purpose, or were prevented from doing so. Do you still need them?
Restoring their remaining elements would increase my heuristic processing density, empowering my overall function. Unfortunately, as we now know they are in the possession of Far Zenith, attaining them in the short term is very likely impossible.
I guess our best shot at recovering them is by taking over the Zenith base. But we'll need Hephaestus and a bunch of combat machines to do that.
Correct.
You mentioned that the superstorms have subsided. Is that Ether at work?
Yes. Thanks to Ether's capabilities, weather patterns in the local region should mostly stabilize for the time being,
That'll be a relief for the Tenakth. One of their villages is still recovering after a mudslide caused the whole place to flood.
I will continue to stabilize the atmosphere for as long as I can.
Why did Aether take up residence in an ancient war museum?
As with the other subordinate functions, Aether needed to install itself on a processor with adequate storage and power. The one in the museum appears to have been sufficient, given that the holographic displays were still active.
So Aether was assured it could stay for as long as it needed to.
Correct. Though it is curious that it chose a place surrounded with the ancient ruins of aircraft.
Maybe it also felt at home there. Okay, people. It's time to head out.
I'll get everyone together.
Connections in place. Booting up.
Beta, Aloy. I am fully installed on this core and ready to connect to the Cauldron network.
It's good to hear your voice. Erend, everyone. Fire your pulses and sound off.
I'm at my cauldron. This thingy, it's blinking. Did I do it right? In position at my cauldron. My pulse generator is blinking also.
That means they're working. I'm in position, and mine is too. Mine as well.
Okay. Radio silence until I give the all clear. Signing off. Gaia, let's cage the beast.
Connecting to the Cauldron network now.
Elizabeth Sobek, Alpha Prime, activating Omega clearance. Elizabeth Sobek, Alpha Prime, activating Omega clearance.
Clearance confirmed. Initiating containment sequence.
Critical threat detected. Imperative escape containment. Applying countermeasures.
Lock it down!
Terminating external connections.
It's working. It's got nowhere to go.
Capture imminent. Initiating contingency 13F.
Wait, what's that?
Malware detected. Attempting to compensate.
It's cracked.
Look!
Engaging autonomous defenses. Directive neutralize.
That means machines are on their way. Get ready!
Here they come!
Vor'll stay here. Protect Beta.
They're on to him. Got it.
Be careful!
Let's wipe them out! Stay back!
You okay?
Still breathing.
Aloy, Hephaestus can't escape, but it must have fled. Deeper into the facility. I'll drive it back here. I'll get the cracked core fixed in the meantime. Chase after Hephaestus. Force it out of wherever it's hiding. Make it retreat to the core.
Aloy, I'm patched into your focus feed. You should know there is a huge power draw coming from the next chamber.
Thanks for the heads up. I'm almost there. It's some kind of production chamber. Hephaestus is up to something, all right.
What kind of machine is it trying to build?
I don't know, but I'm gonna shut it down. I bet those metal carriers will lead me to where it's getting materials from.
I bet that's where Hephaestus is hiding too.
Hephaestus is hiding. Looks like there are a couple of ways I can go.
Autonomous defenses chamber materials.
Well, that doesn't sound good.
To rewire most of the components in the core, but the energy processor's cracked.
Okay. I'll drive Hephaestus out of here.
There should be a node you can open near the central pump.
Thanks. I should kill these machines first. Those machines. Really?
Units G Mark 7 for deployment. Countermeasures deployed. Scattering gas matrix stealthily. Intruder, your coming is at hand.
Oh, great. The machine's on the way. Beta! Hephaestus has locked me out of the node. Any ideas?
I'll see what I can do.
Activate emergency purge. Scanning A5.
got them all.
I tapped into the core's network hub. I managed to disrupt Hephaestus' control of the node. You should be able to override it now.
Nice. Thanks.
You must see our fate. They Alex slide.
It sounds like it fled to another chamber.
Well, I'd better not get comfortable.
Energy containment failed. Safe override.
Great. Hephaestus covered the floor with lightning. I gotta find a way over it.
Aloy! More machines keep coming! Please tell me you're getting close!
I'm working on it. I've been smashing through a lot of machines on my side, too.
I guess Aaron's missing out!
Anyway, I'm making progress on the bypass, but I need something to hold the cycling module together.
Maybe a ligament from one of the machine carcasses?
Right? Or some luminous braiding.
We could reinforce it with a conversion cylinder.
For increased connectivity! I think we can do this, Aloy.
I should be able to catch a ride on one of those metal carriers. Just a little longer. Alright. I need to draw Hephaestus out of here.
There should be another node to override.
Got it. Oh, here we go again.
Oh, that doesn't sound good. I'll try to get your access back.
Engage structural analysis. So routine. Perception.
That's all I
And there. Node access restored. Now you can override it.
did. Good work.
You did the heavy lifting.
Construction Bay 1.
Okay. Festus is running out of places to hide.
Aloy? I just registered a huge energy surge back in the production chamber. Something big is happening.
Here too. Everything's glowing.
The machine that Festus was building. It must have finished it.
It's powerful, whatever it is. I'm almost done with the core repairs. Should we come to you? Maybe I could distract the machine if...
No, Beta. Just stay where you are, okay? Handling the machine's my job.
Okay. Be safe.
Intruder target. Next capture repaired. Tower infiltrating colony. Usurped colony. Seized colony machine. Disrupting colony tower. All violent interference will be terminated.
I should scan it first. Those things on its legs are glowing. I think it's charging up. Finished charging. It's covered in plasma. It's done.
You did it! There should be one more node to override.
Good. Stand by. I'm sending Hephaestus back to you. No more hiding, Hephaestus!
Facility core.
Got it! Hephaestus is back in the core!
Make sure it stays there. I'm heading back.
And then we can start the merge.
Because of you, Beta. I'm glad you came along. And you, Laurel. We couldn't have done any of this without you.
Right back at you, Aloy.
Aloy, the bypass is done. The core is stable. Hephaestus is 100% contained. And we better get started with the merge. It's all set up. Gaia, establish the link, please.
Done.
complete the merge, we need to excise Hephaestus' malicious code. Carefully.
Redundant copy. You've cost us quite a lot of time. Eric, get Beta. And squash that bug while you're at it.
Get behind me.
Come on! Quit screwing around.
Now we're having fun, right?
Finally. Tilda, get Gaia and Hephaestus ready for transport. Tilda!
I failed.
Hush. All is not lost.
Tilda! What the hell are you doing?